Hi, fans of high quality entertainment. Now, it's not very often I talk about the Beatles. Just joking. No, I've been on YouTube for 20 years now, and of course, I have talked about, for me, the greatest band of all time, the Beatles, many, many, many times. I've done hundreds of videos on them, but, I also talk about many other different artists, not just the Beatles. So, once in a while, when I am on a kind of a Beatles kick or solo Beatles kick, I'll get a message or something, enough Beatles. And it's like, I'm sorry, you might be on the wrong channel because I will talk about the Beatles for eternity. And so I've got a few things to say. First of all, I know that not everybody enjoys watching music reactions for, songs or albums, but I do, depending on the album or the song they're listening to. And a recent channel that I've subscribed to is Isaac Brown. I don't know too much about him. I haven't watched a lot of his videos except for the Beatles related ones. But I believe he is a music producer. He's a young guy, as you can see. And supposedly, and I do believe him, he hasn't really heard too much of the Beatles' music. That does happen with younger people, right? They've got their own current crappy music to listen to. And so he's been reacting to all of the Beatles' discography in order. He just did, as you can see, the White Album. And next, he's going to be doing Let It Be, because, of course, that was recorded before Abbey Road. And then he's going to finish off this series, I believe, with Abbey Road. And he also has listened to the singles, too, like Strawberry Fields Forever and Penny Lane and other ones. And overall, it's just fun to see somebody react to music that you're really familiar with, not just the Beatles. For me, it's fun. People reacting to Sparks or Ween or whatever. And I will say, overall, he's been pretty positive about the Beatles. He's very impressed with them, of course, and the production and everything. I think he's more of a Paul McCartney fan than a John or George or Ringo fan. He has, there's been some negativity, which is, it's fine. It's to be expected. Not everybody's going to love everything, right? But I do remember watching his Sgt. Pepper reaction and Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, and he was kind of putting down John's vocals and saying he didn't really like his vocals. I don't think just for that song, but for some of the other songs too, which is, a little surprising. But because for me, John and Paul are my all-time favorite singers. They're almost, pretty equal. And then let's not forget George and even Ringo, right? Ringo sings some pretty good songs with the Beatles. And so, I hope you do check him out. And one thing I noticed, he posted in his community, because, of course, some people are always going to complain. And he said, I've gotten lots of comments and messages asking me to talk less or pause the song if I have something to say. Let me know what you think. And I agreed with pause to talk. And it would be, and not just with him, but with other people that react. Sometimes, they're listening to the song, but they talk over a really important part of the song, when something really cool's happening. And so hopefully, in the future, he'll won't talk over cool parts of songs. And it looks like most people agree with me with just pause to talk. Okay, so in my community, I posted for me, and I've through the not that it really matters, it's just for fun. But if I had to say what is my all-time favorite album, it's got to be the Beatles, and I think it usually be between Abbey Road and the White Album. And so I recently listened to the White Album, watching Isaac's reaction to it. I watched the whole video, and I never get tired of the Beatles or, the White Album, Abbey Road, or whatever. And so I really enjoyed it. And then probably the next day or last night, I listened to Abbey Road for the 1000th time or so. And of course, I love that. I listened to the original mix of it. And I don't think it's very often I would play the White Album, right? And then the next one would be Abbey Road. So listening to the White Album and then the next day Abbey Road, you could really sense that Abbey Road was more of a band effort than the White Album. I still feel parts of the White Album is a band effort, like with Your Blues and certain other songs. But of course, some of it is almost like this is Paul's song, this is John's song. Hello? I'm recording a video for YouTube right now. What would you like to say to all of my fans? Okay. Okay, I'll just pause this just a sec. And don't you ever call again when I'm making a YouTube video. I've told you that before. Bye. Just joking. We edited part of the video. Okay. Uh, where was I? Oh, we're talking about the Beatles. Yeah, so I posted for me the best album of all time is Abbey Road because, like I said, after listening to the White Album, which I love, and then the next day listening to Abbey Road, it's like this sounds more like a real band effort, and of course it was, and I don't know, just and even like I was going to say, Paul's vocals are probably the best for me. The best vocals of all time are on Abbey Road with Paul, John, and Ringo with Octopus's Garden. I think he just sang that so well. I know it's not everybody's favorite Beatles song, but I love it. And of course, George with Here Comes the Sun and Something. And this box set, I do like the remix by Giles Martin, but and so when I do listen to the Beatles, sometimes I play the remix, but usually it's the original, the 2009 remaster. And I don't really think it needed to be remixed because it sounded so good, but still, it's interesting to hear a different version, I guess, a little bit of a different version of Abbey Road. Have I rambled enough? So yeah, I'm just, I still have that passion for the Beatles, excitement for the Beatles, as you can tell. And I'm not, I know other people might have some other album that they would say is the best album of all time for them. But then again, there are a lot of people that do consider this the best album. And yeah, for instance, here, for me, Blonde on Blonde, Bob Dylan. So, some people agreed with me and others had, different choices. Robert Saul. The math is simple. The greatest band's greatest album equals greatest album of all time. 100% agreement from me. Agreed. This is the Beatles' perfect album. I agree with you, Larry. But like I said, Closer by Joy Division. For me, it's either The Dreaming, Kate Bush, Animals, Pink Floyd, or Lemonade by Beyonce. But the insane impact of Abbey Road is clear. So I respect that you think it's number one, and I do agree it's the Beatles' best, and others agreed. And like I said, it doesn't matter if you agree or not. It's just my opinion. Just everything about it, and the production, of course. I love the way side one ends abruptly, and then you flip it over, and here comes the sun. I've told the story many times before. I won't tell it again about the very first time I listened to Abbey Road. And the last song, The End, I thought was the end, right? I'm going to tell it anyway. And so I'm watching the vinyl record spin around, and I'm thinking, why is the needle not lifting up off the record? And so I'm watching it spin around and round. It's like I said, the needle's not moving, lifting up. So I turned the volume all the way up on my dad's stereo system. And then Her Majesty, boom, like that. And I seriously, it'd be nice to have some footage of that. But I jumped, and I was, 58, 68, 11 years old. So the Beatles scared me. They also scared me with Revolution 9. And speaking of Revolution 9, to end this, it's right here. He's listening to this, and he is talking a bit through it. But he doesn't know what's going on. Oh, you can't see it. I apologize. And getting back to Revolution 9, you can see here Isaac is listening to it for the first time. And he doesn't know what to think of it. I don't think he liked it too much, which is fine, right? It's not for everybody. But he did love the ending with Good Night, which I think is a perfect way, after the chaos of Revolution 9, a really sweet way to end the album. So that's it. The Beatles are the best. And if you disagree with me, that's okay. It's just my opinion. Thanks for watching. Remember to like the video and leave a comment below. Bye.